So this is norma verticalis beta. I will tell it in very short. So whatever is shown here in norma verticalis, you learn all the labelings beta. Okay.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
we have to discuss a lot, so I'll be moving fast. So even this frontanelis, this is fetal skull, anterior and posterior frontanelli, okay, and anterolateral and posterolateral frontanelli. Okay, at what age it is closing also, it is very important. It's written everything. Like anterior frontanelli, 18 months, posterior is weight bearing area, that's by 2 to 3 months. Okay, everything is written here, go through once. Okay, even this is norma occipitalis beta. Learn this also. Okay, make a note of whatever I'm telling you. They may ask you few emissory veins. Learn at least two beta from this table. One or two emissory
Okay.
veins enough. This picture is actually showing the epicranial aponeurosis, that is third layer of scalp with two muscles inserted, that is frontalis and occipitalis. In the nerve supply shown. Norma frontalis also you try to learn all the labelings better. Okay. Yeah, this norma basalis. Especially in norma basalis, you should know the names of the foramina and structures passing through them. So the main chief foramina, what usually examiners will ask is foramen ovale. What is foramen ovale? Passing male structures, no? Mandibular nerve, then accessory meningeal artery, lesser petrosal nerve and emissory veins. Okay. Then jugular foramen is also equally important. Jugular foramen, it transfers what cranial nerves? Ninth, 10th, 11th cranial nerve
10,
and
11.
internal jugular vein. Okay. So these two foramina and this is foramen lacerum. Here only you will see traversing of internal carotid artery. Okay. Foramen spinosum gives passage to middle meningeal artery. Hypoglossal canal gives passage to hypoglossal nerve, which is 12th cranial nerve. Okay. Then stylomastoid foramen, it gives passage to facial nerve. Okay. So like that, these are the few stock questions we generally see from like osteology. Muscle attachments, you need not worry, beta. Nobody will ask you. Now, what is passing through foramen magnum, beta? This is actually, they will ask most frequently. Everybody will tell spinal cord and also the meninges. Apart from that, what you should talk is the anterior spinal artery, two posterior spinal arteries, vertebral artery. Okay. Apart from that, you are also finding the corresponding veins. Okay. That is. Then diploic veins not required, beta. This is cranial fossa. That means cranial cavity. Anterior cranial fossa, middle cranial fossa, posterior cranial fossa. This is superior orbital fissure. In the chapter orbit, you will have list of structures which are passing through superior orbital fissure. So the main important ones we have are third, fourth, and sixth cranial nerves, isn't it? So third is oculomotor, fourth is trochlear, and sixth is abducent. Apart from that, the what are the other? We will also find certain branches like ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerve is also passing through this. Okay, lacrimal branch, frontal branch of ophthalmic division of trigeminal also passes through this. Okay, beta. Then again you will see the similar foraminae. Okay, ROS is in the order foramen, rotundum, ovale, and spinosum. Rotundum is actually not opening from the other side. It is actually like obliterated, closed one. This is foramen lacerum. Okay, then you have this is again jugular foramen is coming into picture. So this fossa is the hypophyseal fossa where we have pituitary gland. Okay, an important thing is optic canal, which gives passage to the optic nerve and also ophthalmic artery. On either side of this middle cranial fossa, that is, this is the chip of hypophyseal fossa, we have on either side, what do we have? Cavernous sinus. Okay, beta? Cavernous sinus. Boundaries of orbit becomes too much. Find out from your friends if they are asking, because this is extreme level, like how is the roof formed, floor formed, medial, lateral. I told you very extensively when I was taking extraocular muscles, boundaries of orbit and everything. If time permits, go through with this picture better. 1.21 orbit.
Okay, ma'am.
Orbit. Mandible is important bone better. Very, very important. It's a usual question. See here, this is the mandible which is seen from outside, outer surface. Learn all the labelings. Make a note. This is from outside, the other side is inside. And usually they may ask you, what are the age changes? What happens as we grow older? Muscle attachments, at least one or two you try to remember. Okay, age changes, 3 are given. Meghana, make a note. Okay, age changes. Whatever I am telling you, make a fast note. Detailed explanation becomes very difficult because you asked whole book now. So,
Yes, ma'am. I'll make the note and I'll read it.
you stop me wherever you feel like I need to elaborate. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Rest individual bones you don't read, not at all required. Hyoid bone, usually it's a very small bone, beta. They may not ask. For this time, you leave it for final exams, we will study. Cervical vertebra. Just learn the labelings better, if possible. This is typical cervical vertebra. Typical in the sense, like from C3 to C5. They have all same features. Okay, that's why they are called as typical. Whereas first, second, and seventh, they have their own specific features. Okay, that's why they are called as atypical. First cervical vertebra is atlas. Second cervical vertebra is axis. And the last one will have prominent spine, that is vertebra prominent, seventh cervical vertebra. Remaining C3, C4, C5 and C6, they have same features. That's why they are called as typical cervical vertebra. Just learn the pictures. Okay. Then scalp 5 layers names, try to remember. Recently, I have discussed it as essay question in one of the paper. Isn't it, Meghana?
Yes, ma'am.
Blood supply and nerve supply also you try to remember in front of pinna and behind the pinna. Venous drainage and all, it becomes too extensive for Viva beta. They may not ask. Muscles of facial expression also for Viva, it's not so easy. But despite of that, if you want to read at least few muscles, take 3, that is orbicularis oculi, then orbicularis oris buccinator. Okay, these 3 muscles are the probable ones. Just names of the branches of facial artery they may ask beta. Like it has, what are the branches? Mental branch, superior labial branch, inferior labial branch, lateral nasal, angular artery. Finally, it anastomosis with supratrochlear and supraorbital, which are the branches coming from ophthalmic division of internal carotid artery. Dangerous area of face is also very important because you will see facial vein will have connection with pterygoid plexus of veins through a emissory vein. It is connected to cavernous sinus. So if we just prick our pimples or something, there is chance of spread of infection to cavernous sinus. I don't think lacrimal apparatus we will ask. This is too extensive. Side of neck. Just look at this picture better, 3.1b, and just divide it like sternocleidomastoid, right in front of it, whatever triangle is there, anterior triangle. Behind, between sternocleidomastoid and anterior border of trapezius, we have posterior triangle. Inferior belly of omohyoid divides the posterior triangle into occipital part and supraclavicular part. Okay, like that you have two subdivisions of posterior triangle. Anti-triangle, we will have one more very good picture. It will have further 3.5 triangles. Can anybody name what are those 3.5 triangles? Shavi, Ritika, Meghana. Carotid triangle, muscular triangle, submental triangle. First, know the subdivisions, but that is more important. Okay, digastric. See, in front of this sternocleidomastoid, whatever triangles we have, 3.5 triangles we have, that comes under anterior triangle. So this one where I am pointing the arrow is carotid triangle. Below this we have muscular triangle. Above is digastric, and just below chin we have submental triangle. Okay, just learn the boundaries. For example, digastric, anteriorly it is bounded by anterior belly of digastric, posteriorly by posterior belly of digastric, and superiorly by the lower border of the mandible. Okay, similarly, you have this carotid and muscular triangles and submental triangles as well. Okay, submental only will be half on right side and half on left side. That's why anterior triangle subdivisions are 3.5. In case if ansa cervicalis is asked, how is it formed? So then you have to talk like ventral ramus of C1, C2, C3 and hypoglossal nerve. They join to form a nervous loop which supplies the muscles of the front of the neck. Flat muscles we have. What are those? Sternohyoid, sternothyroid, thyrohyoid and omohyoid. Flat muscles, ribbon muscles, strap muscles. These are the common terms which are used. Okay. Parotid region, they may ask you about parotid duct better. What is the course of parotid duct? So it will be piercing. What structures? Buccinator, see here. So it is around 5 centimeters long, emerges from the middle of the anterior border, runs forwards and slightly downwards. Okay. And see here, you should know like it is passing through buccinator and finally it is opening like behind the upper second molar tooth. So what are the structures it is passing? That is important, beta. You should tell buccal pad of fat, buccopharyngeal fascia and buccinator muscle. Finally opens behind the upper second molar tooth. That is parotid duct is the only probable question. Which and of course the terminal divisions of facial nerve which are very popular. You can easily tell. Temporal branch, zygomatic branch, upper buccal, lower buccal, marginal, mandibular, and cervical. These are the terminal branches of facial, what we see. And from this chapter, usually they will not ask Viva question. But suppose if they ask, they may ask you, what are the muscles of mastication? Just name them. Okay. And what is the nerve supply? See, I told you the other day also, all are supplied by mandibular nerve, which is nothing but the third subdivision of the trigeminal nerve. Okay, beta? Like that you remember. Let's come as a very short note. If your examiners are too much, this becomes too lengthy. In fact, it is a critical type of question. Maxillary artery is one of the branches of external carotid artery, and lateral pterygoid muscle divides the course of maxillary artery into 3 parts. Each part will have branches. First part has a cord called as pig pass. Damai. Second is DMBP, and third one is PIGPAS. If possible, just try to read the names of branches, not the course for amina and distribution, because it is Viva, no? You need not talk about temporomandibular joint, but usually Viva questions won't come from there. Submandibular region also, not much Viva questions, nothing to worry. Side of the neck. Yeah, thyroid gland. They may ask you coverings like false capsule and true capsule. How is the false capsule formed? By splitting of pretracheal fascia. Meghana, thyroid whole thing I recently discussed with you as essay question while doing papers. Isn't it better?
Yes, ma'am.
Just learn about the capsules, learn about the blood supply, learn about the nerve supply and applied aspects for Viva. Okay. In case if they ask histology, just talk about thyroid follicles. Nobody will ask you questions like subclavian artery. Nobody will torture you, beta. How are your examiners in general? Student friendly?
They're asking everything. No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, but see, things which are not so important, skip. No, don't worry, because finally, if you write theory, then only that will matter. No, so whatever I am discussing will help you for your theory exams also. 90% for your practical Viva also. Okay, beta. So whatever I am not touching, just forget about it. Because other arteries like subclavian artery branches and all, it becomes too extensive. I don't want to trouble you people unnecessarily. For now, vertebral artery also, don't worry. There will be certain stock questions, beta, which teachers usually ask. You should make a note of those questions, be prepared. Actually, when you are going on 4th day, you should collect all the questions from first 3 days. 90% those questions only will be repeated.
I already asked my friends, ma'am. They're not telling me the correct question.
Okay. Yeah, that usually will be there for your age group students. Just a minute. There is also a question like spinal cord, like what are the modifications? You have written one of the questions. Have you gone through, beta? These are the modifications of the spinal pia mater. Phylum terminale, subarachnoid septum, ligamentum denticulatum. Okay, these are the structures which are the modifications of pia mater. Just go through once. Okay. Cranial cavity. This is too much theoretical question, beta, where you in practicals you cannot show all these things. So I don't think there will be any Viva question for dural venous sinuses. But still, if you can do, just try to memorize the list of paired and unpaired dural venous sinuses. I gave you one code while teaching cyst SPM for paired ones, SISO-BAP, SISO, SISO BAP for unpaired. Isn't it? Just read once to recollect those names, because already you read, I remember. You can recollect easily. Middle pharyngeal artery, there may be a clinical question. What is an artery of extracranial hematoma? This is the artery of extracranial hematoma. That means this middle pharyngeal artery enters into the cranial cavity, passing through foramen spinosum, and it supplies most of the inner table of the skull and also the dura mater. So if this artery is ruptured, you will see collection of blood inside the skull bone, which is called as outside the dura mater. That's why it is extradural hematoma, extradural hemorrhage. This artery is clinical significance. Apart from that, about that artery, they can't ask better. Even internal carotid artery, Viva, I don't think they will ask branches like that. You can just skip. Try to name the extraocular muscles and give the movements and nerve supply. Superior rectus, inferior medial, lateral recti, superior oblique, inferior oblique. SO4, LR6, you try to remember. SO4 is superior oblique by trochlear, lateral rectus by abducent, rest all by oculomotor. And just remember these movements better. All these, this table is very, very important. Okay. Like each rectus muscle, what is the action it does. Okay. And the details of each nerve won't be asked for sure. Don't worry. This is all theory. Make a note of everything, whatever I'm telling you.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Waldeyer's lymphatic ring. Suddenly, if they ask you, you should tell like it is. Just make a note of this picture. 2 palatine tonsils, lingual tonsil, 2 tubal tonsils, and nasopharyngeal tonsil. Blood supply of tonsil, try to remember this diagram. Simple questions like Little's area, which we recently discussed. Again, revise it once better. What are the blood vessels involved in the formation of Little's area? Okay, which is seen in the nasal septum, and what is epistaxis, nose bleeding. Okay. They may not ask you like what are the bones forming nasal septum, because that is all too much critical. But still they may just try to learn this picture 15.8, very important beta, because they may ask you what are the openings you see in the superior meatus, middle meatus, and inferior meatus. Hope you remember. Like lateral wall of nose will have 3 shelf-like projections which are called as concave. Below the concave, the area is called meatus, and in the meatus we will receive the openings of paranasal air sinuses. Now you should like be specific, like in superior meatus what sinus is opening, middle and inferior you will see opening of nasolacrimal duct. Just revise this picture, that will help you. 15.8. Don't go with blood supply, nerve supply for Viva. Not required. Largest of all paranasal sinus is maxillary air sinus, which opens in the middle meatus, hiatus semilunaris. Larynx, recently in the papers we did vocal cords, interior of larynx. Just revise that photo beta. We have superiorly vestibular folds, inferiorly vocal folds. In between, we have sinus of larynx, also called as ventricle. Okay. Then और कितना टाइम लगता? So in the tongue, just try to revise these gross features better. They may ask you nerve supply. It's a very popular question. Nerve supply of tongue. Just list of muscles is quite easy. Nerve supply and lymphatic drainage of tongue is very, very important. For lymphatic drainage, refer this picture 17.7. Okay. And for nerve supply, refer this picture better 17.8. What I'm showing you here. Okay. What all nerves are given? Thoroughly learn them because this is most popular Viva question. Okay, lymphatic drainage and nerve supply of tongue. Is that okay, Meghana?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh. Middle ear boundaries. How many boundaries does it have? 6 boundaries I told you recently. Roof, floor, medial wall, lateral wall, anterior and posterior walls. Okay, just revise once. And the contents are malleus incus stapes and two muscles, tensor tympani and stapedius. Okay. Only that thing is important, beta, for middle ear. Eyeball, like this won't be asked for anatomy, beta, don't worry. But what are the layers of retina and the cornea will be asked in histology. But gross eyeball, 100% it won't be asked. So you need not worry at all. Try to learn these layers of retina beta, very important. Okay, make a note, 19.17 picture in this chapter. Keep on taking photographs wherever I'm stopping so that correspondingly you can check in your book or screen record the things. All these are not required. But now we will go to neuroanatomy. So in neuroanatomy, this nobody will ask you, don't worry. This is histological aspect of cerebrum. 6 layers what has it has. You can read it for histology. Okay. Not for gross. Anyhow, you will be asked histology questions as well tomorrow. In case if they ask you question like what are the folds of dura mater, then you should just mention them, list out them like falx cerebri, tentorium cerebelli, falx cerebri, falx cerebelli and diaphragma celli. Okay, these are the 4 folds of dura mater which divides the brain into certain like falx cerebri will divide the brain into right and left cerebral hemisphere, cerebelli into right and left cerebellar hemisphere, tentorium cerebelli will be holding occipital lobes above, below which we will have cerebellum. Diaphragma celli we will find at the level of pituitary gland, like that. Okay, 4 things. See, this is tentorium, tent. Above tent, occipital lobes. Below tent, you have cerebellum. This is the partition. This is what is this? Diaphragma celli. You are finding pituitary yellow small area. Infundibulum is written. Okay, like that. You have dural folds. Just name them. Anyhow, when question comes, I will elaborate. Spinal cord, I hope you have read by now. Till where it is extending? See, this is usually it measures up to 45 centimeters, isn't it? So it has two enlargements, cervical and lumbar enlargements. Okay, the spinal cord ends at the level of L1 vertebra. You can just check this better. See, this diagram is so good. And see here, this is the level is actually L1. The spinal cord is ending here only. Okay, but the spinal nerves keep coming. We have L2, L3, L4, L5. They are traveling little down. L2 should travel more and should go up to L2 intervertebral foramina to come out. Correspondingly, L3, L4, L5. Okay, then we also have sacral nerves, S1, S2, S3, S4, S5. Then coccygeal nerves. Okay, all these nerves, they come out through their corresponding intervertebral foramina. Okay, so these are, but the spinal cord is ending at the level of L1. Okay, that is one of the questions what you have written in the list. So because picture is here, I'm showing you. Okay, during embryonic growth, vertebral column grows faster and spinal cord stops growing. That's the reason spinal cord's length is not corresponding to vertebral column. but spinal nerves come out correspondingly through their respective intervertebral foraminae. That is important, beta. And you should talk about phylum terminal. They may ask you length and phylum terminal internum, externum. It's a modification of pia mater. Okay, those things. Just learn phylum terminal, beta. Under modifications of pia mater also gave you the page number. Tracts don't read at all. For now, I mean to say for Viva, not required. Cranial nerves also, I don't think they will ask, but so much of extensive things are there. How much can you remember for cranial nerves? You just leave cranial nerves, but are not required. Okay. So after that brainstem, what will they ask, beta? If you are with them, they will usually give you brainstem in hand and they will ask you to identify the ventral and dorsal aspects. In case if they give picture also, you should be able to tell this ventral surface, beta. This area is pons, this is medulla oblongata. Learn all these labelings. For generally Viva, this is important, beta. Okay, 25.1 figure, two aspects we have. One is ventral aspect and the other is dorsal aspect. Dorsal aspect is nothing but floor of fourth ventricle, rhomboid fossa. One of the question you wrote also there, I remember, in the list. So you thoroughly learn this better. This is the posterior aspect or the dorsal aspect of brainstem. Upper part is indicating midbrain. This whole thing is pons. And below this stria terminals, stria medullaris, whatever triangular area is there, lower down is medulla oblongata. Above stria medullaris, we have pons, below is medulla. Okay, learn all the labelings, very, very important. Anything can be asked from here. Like, it will help you. If not now, in your grand viva, pakka, this diagram is important. Don't learn any of the sections now, not required. Sections you need not. There is a question you asked me like neurobiotaxis, right? So actually facial nerve, when it is coming out, it is just making a loop around the abducent nerve and then coming out. That means it should have come directly downwards medially, right? But it is not doing like that. But it is just making a turn, making a loop around the abducent and then coming laterally. That means it's trying to move more closer to trigeminal nerve. Because if you remember, the nerve supply of face, sensory supply comes from the trigeminal nerve, motor nerve supplies come from the facial nerve. So they want to move together as though they are friends. So because of that attraction, it wants to move close to trigeminal nerve so that it has taken a loop and it has moved laterally. That is the meaning of neurobiotaxis, attraction of facial nerve towards trigeminal nerve because they together give blood nerve supply to face. That's it, better. Don't learn anything. Where do you find red nucleus? If they ask, you just tell like it is found in the cut section of midbrain at the level of superior colliculus. It is red in color because of the presence of iron pigments. Okay. Here at this level, you also find substantia nigra, which is concerned with the release of a neurotransmitter that is dopamine. Okay, link may go. I will resend the link.